Hey guys, I am super excited about this unboxing I have for you today. I got the Instant Pot Max, which is the newest version of the Instant Pot. Since the original Duo, there have been different versions of the Instant Pot come out, like the Plus and the Ultra, and a few other ones made for like Costco and for QVC. But most of those were pretty similar to the Duo. There were just a few extra little buttons that just had preset times. Not a huge difference from the original Duo, except the Ultra. The Ultra was the first one that had a few different settings, like the sous vide setting and stuff. But with the Instant Pot Max, there are a lot of differences and upgrades. This will be my first Instant Pot that is not one of the Duo models. I never upgraded to the Duo Plus, but this did have such exciting new features like canning feature, and actually cooks faster because it can stay at a higher PSI. I was just very interested to check this model out. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing open. So right off the bat, one thing I really like is that they dropped the idea of the 7-in-1, 9-in-1, 10-in-1 marketing. It just is a multi-use programmable pressure cooker with sous vide. I always thought the 7-in-1, 9-in-1 thing was just a marketing gimmick, and the buttons, for the most part, most of them are just preset times that you can adjust manually. So pressing one of the buttons to get the cake feature or the egg feature, it didn't cook it any differently. It just was a preset time. So marketing it as a 7-in-1, 9-in-1, I just thought was a silly gimmick, and I'm glad to see that they have moved away from that. So here is the box real quick. Looks pretty fancy. There's the top. And on the inside of the lid here, it has just a list of everything that's supposed to be in there. And it's pretty similar to the Instant Pot Duo. So it does come with some silicone mitts that are not in the other models, with the other models, but it's got the condensation collector, the measuring cup, the rice paddle, soup spoon, and looks like everything's about the same there. Okay, for the paperwork, they have the Instant Pot Max user manual, which is good because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot different to use than the other models, so they didn't try to combine different models in the same user manual. So that'll be some good reading there. The recipe book, it has a picture of the Ultra on there, so it is one that is used for the other models, which I will have to look into because I was thinking that everything cooked faster in the Instant Pot Max because of the higher PSI. So I'm wondering if they talk about that as far as adjusting recipes and stuff, because it shouldn't have the same cook times as the other models there. And then here's the Instant Pot Max Quick Start Guide. 500 free recipes at on the app. I have not looked at the app very much. I've heard that it's not great, and I haven't just taken the time to do that. But maybe I'll check it out. So there's the Quick Start Guide, and it has one of the features now. It has is a auto vent feature. So if you're scared of flipping the vent to release the steam, you can avoid that by having the auto vent feature, which will be fun to play with. And this is pretty cool. It's a cooking timetable for the 15 psi max pressure level, so that'll be helpful. Eggs hard boiled in 4 minutes. Usually I do 6 minutes in my other Duo, so that is quicker. Let's see, rice 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes for the white rice, which usually I do 4 or 5 minutes for white rice. So the cook times do look a little quicker, and this is a nice little cheat sheet for a bunch of different things. That's nice. My helper decided he wanted to join the party as well. All right, let's get this thing out of the box. We got the cord, which is detachable. And here we go. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. The shape is a little bit ovalish, so it looks like the bottom is a little bit wider around, kind of like an oval, but then the top is still round. This is what the vent looks like on this one, and it's got like a plastic cover over it so you can't mess with it manually, which is interesting. And it's got the pin right here, just like on the other one. Okay, the inside of the lid looks very similar to the Duos. It's got the same cover here that comes off. There it is. Exactly the same as on the Duos that I have. This has the little silicone cap that comes off, and then the pin can come out for cleaning if necessary. So those are the parts on the lid. And then to put it back, you just pop it right back into the hole there and pop the little silicone cap back on. Don't lose the silicone cap because it will not come to pressure without that for sure. And the cover just pops right back on like that. And then it's got the silicone ring in here, and the silicone ring looks exactly the same as on the other models. So that looks like it should be interchangeable between the models. And that just goes right back around the metal ring in here. What are you talking about back there? Do you have something interesting to say about the Instant Pot Max? So that's what the lid looks like. Again, not a whole lot different than the Duos. It's got a silver line down the middle of the handle. There you go, fancy. Okay, now for what's inside the pot. It does come with these silicone mitts, and these you can buy on Amazon, but I've never purchased them before. So those are helpful. There's two of them. And then of course the same things that come with all of the Instant Pots, the ladle and the rice paddle and the rice cup. And then this is the condensation collector. This one looks the same as on the Duos as well, and that goes back behind here just the same as on the Duos. It just slides right back there. You empty it every so often when it gets filled with a little bit of condensation. It doesn't fill up very often, but it's good to check every once in a while. And then we got a trivet or a steamer rack. This is what the steamer rack looks like, and it's got little feet on there so it holds whatever you're cooking above the water, so you have water underneath that creates the steam, that creates the pressure, and whatever you want to cook on top of there. And warning sheet. Now for the inner pot looks exactly the same as on the Duos, so those should be interchangeable, and it has the markings in here for pressure cooker max, 2/3, and then the 1/2 line, stainless steel. Another warning, make sure you remove this card before use. Very good instructions. Inside here, this is silver, which on the other Instant Pots, it's more of a dark gray, maybe a different material or different coating at least. And then one other thing that I heard about that I was excited about is this edge right here. They made it a little bit wider so it's easier to clean. On the other models, it's very difficult to get something in there to clean it out. You can see the side of the Instant Pot is here, and it kind of curves out a little bit so that there's just more room to clean that when necessary. Oh, and then this has a little cover I'll go ahead and pull off. So I'm going to go ahead and put it all together. I'm putting my inner pot in, which you always want to put in before you put any food in. You never cook any food without the inner pot in there. And make sure that's in. Put my lid on and plug in the plug. So here's what it looks like when I first plug it in. It says it's 2:11 a.m. Oops. I didn't know that there was a clock on here. That's kind of cool. So I'm looking at my quick start guide and going to attempt to set the clock. So I'm going to touch here. So it is a touch screen, which is pretty exciting. And I unlocked the system settings, and then I set the time by touching the minutes. Let's see. Ah! I didn't do it fast enough. There we go. And then turning the dial. Now I have to know what time it is. What time is it right now? It's 11:12 a.m. Oh, there we go. Oh, and then I can, it's on Celsius right now, but I am in the US, so I'm going to switch to Fahrenheit. There we go, that's good. So they have this other cool feature that I just found out about, which is you can set your elevation, 0 feet, and then it starts at 2,000 feet, and you can toggle to meters as well. So 600 meters, 2,000 feet. And you can set your elevation and it will adjust your cook time based on your elevation, because elevation affects how a pressure cooker works. So that's really cool. I'm leaving mine at 0 because I'm not at a high altitude. And then another thing you can adjust is the sound. You can turn the sound off or on. So that's kind of cool. And see how I turned off the sound and then it's not beeping at me. Turn it back on and it starts beeping at me again. That's cool. I just noticed that the time that I set didn't save. I'm not sure why. What did I do wrong here? 11:21 a.m. And let's see if it stays this time. Okay, so now the clock is set correctly, and I don't know if I unplug it and plug it back in if the clock is going to be not set anymore or if it saves it somehow. I don't know. So on the Duo models, they just have the steam release valve and that just pops right off. On this model, they have a cover, steam release cover, and then the steam release valve underneath. So the way this comes off, it just twists and pops right off, and it's just a cover, I imagine, just to make sure it doesn't get bumped during the cook time. Since it's all automated, you don't ever have to touch this during the cook time, and then this just pops right off like on the other models, and you can take that off for cleaning in case any gunk gets in there. It's always good to clean it every once in a while and then put it back together with the cover. And that's it. So in the quick start guide, I wanted to show you the different venting settings. Of course, they have natural release, which is not venting, where pressure comes down naturally, and then pulse release. It's a programmed intermittent bursts of steam, and then quick release, where you just let all the steam out quickly, continuous stream of steam. And then over here, it's got the instructions for the initial test run, and I'll go ahead and do that. Add 3 cups of water to the inner pot, lock the lid, turn the lid to close until the jingle, touch pressure cook, touch minute to adjust the cook time, turn the central dial to adjust cook time to 15 minutes. Wow, that's a long time. Touch pressure to toggle between low, high, and max. Select max. On the Instant Pot Duo, they only have low and high pressure. And that's kind of nice that they have low and high pressure on this model as well, because if you're following a recipe that's made for the regular Duo or the other lower PSI Instant Pots, you can just switch it to low or high and get the same results probably with the max pressure cooker. So that's really nice. Touch venting to toggle between auto venting options, natural release, pulse release, or quick release, and touch quick release. Touch start. When the smart program has completed, 10 beeps will sound. A short warning burst followed by a continuous stream of steam will be released. The float valve will drop to indicate the pressure has been fully released. Once the pressure indicator has turned off, it's this little light right here, and I see it right there. So once that has turned off, you may open the lid, turn the lid counterclockwise to open until jingle sounds. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I have my 3 cups of water here ready to go. Opening up my lid, and you can put the lid into the handle just like that, like on the other Duos, which is wonderful. Putting in my 3 cups of water, and I'm gonna lock my lid. So if you look down here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a unlock here and a little arrow that you line up the arrows with, and then you turn it to close, and there's another little arrow right here. So you line up the arrows to close it, so the lid is on. Now it's plugged in. I'm gonna hit pressure cook, and I'm gonna adjust the time down to 15 minutes. There's that. Press pressure right here to toggle between low, high, and max, and I'm selecting max. And then I'm gonna touch venting, and it has no venting, which means natural pressure release, where it won't vent, it'll just let the pressure come down naturally, and that takes the longest amount of time. And then I press, so I hit the venting, and it can toggle between the three options: the natural pressure release, the pulse pressure release, and then the quick pressure release. And I want it to be on quick. And then I am just going to press start. There it goes. So it shows right here, it's in the preheat stage, and it has this little progress bar, it looks like, up here. So for some reason my temperature toggle to Fahrenheit did not save. I don't know if I can do it while it's cooking or not. No, it won't let me do it right now. But I will switch it back to Fahrenheit after the cooking is done. It's been just a few minutes. Oh, the pressure just popped up, or the pin just popped up, and it's pulsing a little bit. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but we'll just let it do its thing. And you can see on the progress bar, we're almost done with the preheat stage, and then we'll go into cooking. So those little bursts of steam went for just a minute or so, and now they've stopped. And I think it's about to head into the cooking time. There we go. It is on the cooking time. It just rolled over to 15 minutes. Here's something that's pretty cool. It says you can make on-the-fly changes during the cook cycle of any smart program. Touch the field you want to change, pressure, temperature, keep warm, or venting, and then make the adjustments by toggling to the correct setting. Touch the start key or wait 5 seconds for a beep to sound. The cook cycle will resume. So that's an upgrade. With the other models, you had to turn it off and then start it over again. So that is a really cool upgrade. I'm liking all these little tips they have inside the manual here. It says, instant tip, pressure cook and manual keys perform the same function. The pressure cook key on the Instant Pot Max and the manual key on other models are interchangeable. So that is important information to have. This is something else that's very interesting that I hadn't been aware of. There is an advanced feature called NutriBoost, and when enabled, the NutriBoost setting creates internal movement during the rice and soup/broth smart programs. The intermittent bursts of steam from the steam release valve during the cook cycle create a boiling motion effect. This feature is ideal for soup and for bone broth as it breaks down food, adding nutrition, flavor, and taste. It is also great when cooking a risotto as it provides superior flavors. And then steps to activate the NutriBoost. So it's only on the soup broth and the rice cook settings. Oh, select the, what is that one? The pulse steam release to activate the NutriBoost. And then touch the start key to begin the cook cycle. NutriBoost is an automated setting that will activate automatically throughout the cook cycle of the smart program. That is very interesting. So in the manual, they have all of the instructions on how to can using the Instant Pot Max. This is the only Instant Pot model that is approved for canning, so definitely don't try it in any of the other Instant Pots, but this has a canning setting, and then all of the information is in here to make sure you do it in a safe way. I'm really excited about that. Of course, you're not going to be able to can a lot at a time because it is still a small 6-quart pressure cooker and you have to have things in the jars, and jars take up a lot of space, so you can just do a few at a time, but that will be really interesting to play with and see how it goes. So they have getting started on this page, and then they have a page about sterilizing jars, and then pressure canning. And it says that you put in water up to 1/4 of the height of the jar. So you don't have to fill the Instant Pot full of water like you do with boil water canning. It's more of a steam canning process. So now onto the saute setting. One cool thing that they have on here is that you can set a custom temperature that you want your saute to be at. Instead of just on the Duo model, it was less normal and more as far as a temperature setting, but this you have low and high and then custom, so you can set it yourself. Of course, the Instant Pot Max has a slow cook setting, and I don't find I use slow cook very often in my Instant Pots. I probably won't use it very often here on the Max as well. And then they have all this information in here about doing sous vide and using your Instant Pot Max as a sous vide machine. And this is something, again, that I have never done. And I am interested to try it out. I'll let you know if I get it figured out and what I think of it. Apparently the Instant Pot Ultra has a sous vide setting, but it had trouble maintaining a precise temperature, which you really need for sous vide, so it got some bad reviews. And I'm hoping that the Instant Pot Max will be better in that respect. The Instant Pot Max also has a yogurt feature, which looks about the same as the yogurt features on the other models. So just to do a quick flip through of the rest of this manual, they have care and cleaning page, a whole bunch of troubleshooting instructions, and then warranty. And that looks like about it. Index. And then there's all of the different models of Instant Pots. All right, we got 1 more minute on the cook time, and then we'll see how this auto quick release works. Notice this is red. This little light here means don't open the lid yet. And you can see the temperature is falling there. And it is on the keep warm mode now. That's the keep warm section of the progress bar. Last little bit of steam is coming out there. Still red. Oh, there it goes. Pin dropped down. Red light is off, meaning I can open the lid. The lid is not incredibly smooth. It's a little bit rougher than my Duos, which is interesting. And there we go. We have successfully pressure cooked some water at 15 psi. Thanks so much for checking out the Instant Pot Max with me. I will continue to play with it and let you know my continued thoughts on it. So far, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys are all doing great, and I will talk to you again real soon.